You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a visit from the Children's Miracle Network president serves to strengthen some local health care partnerships.
Also, an Oklahoma man is arrested accused of scamming a Lamar, Missouri resident out of more than $250,000.
And we've got clear skies for now. Pop-up storms out there, hot and muggy through the afternoon. The latest on your forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. now on this Thursday. No, it's not. Wednesday, July the 16th. Yes, it is.
Yes,
okay. All right, we're going to get there. We've got a hot, muggy day ahead of us. And yesterday, a special visit in Joplin.
Yes, Dr. Amy Daly with the National Children's Miracle Network visited Joplin yesterday.
KOAM's Ty Parks has more on how local partnerships are key in the network's mission.
Children's Miracle Network President Amy Daly visited Freeman Health System Tuesday, starting with a stop at the NICU.
Started out in Arkansas. I'm making my way up through the state of Missouri over the next few days.
During the tour, Dr. Daly saw many of the items that Children's Miracle Network helped fund, as well as local champions.
We met with Layla, who's one of your local champions, and her dog Nico, who helps her with her diabetes. A really great alert dog that was part of the Miracle Dog program that Freeman Health has, and so that's how she received that dog.
He says that what Children's Miracle Network does sometimes stops her in her tracks.
Right? It kind of just takes your breath away because, you know, the work that we do, it's both, it can be heartbreaking at times, right? The work that we do, but it's also very heartwarming. And so that was one of my moments for me where I walked in here and I thought, like, what an incredible testament to this community.
But she also says that it's the partnerships that get the job done.
I see both sides of the coin because the hospitals are the ones that are doing the work. They're providing the care. But the corporate partners in our programs are where the money's being raised. And so this trip is such an absolute combination of both of those things that I get to walk from seeing the care in action to seeing the money raised that's helping that happen and see the frontline employees who are out there doing it, whether it's providing the care or providing the encouragement for the community to raise money. And it just makes me really proud.
Reporting in Joplin, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Well, Dr. Daly's visit comes after the local CMN chapter won the National In-Flight Challenge, where local hospitals track partner stewardship, fundraising, and relationship building. Of
course, an incredible resource, not just for here, but for our region as well. I mean, it is Ronald McDonald House of the 4 states, and it's great to see them all come together and folks support them. And you are going to want to support your AC unit, maybe give it some nice talking to, just keep it running because it's going to continue to get hot out there. Let's start with that live look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Already warm and muggy. I mean, walking out the door just before 3 this morning, and boy, it was bad. It was super humid, and still is, which means our heat index values today start climbing as well. And of course, otherwise, it looks nice. If your view is inside, if you're working inside, got a great view outside, that's a good place to be. Otherwise, you got to, stay hydrated, take breaks, and of course, stay inside when you can. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looks good as well. Now, late tonight, after midnight, we could get a strong storm, perhaps 2, trying to scrape our far northern counties, maybe some gusty winds out there. There's a greater severe threat to our north. We're on the very far southern edge of that. This is a very, very isolated, very limited risk, but it is there. So we'll, of course, keep an eye on it for you. But otherwise, not expecting much in terms of severe weather over the next couple of days, but we will see more storm chances. Pop-up storms once again in place today. Last couple of days, they've started pretty early, even as early as 10:30, 11 a.m. Today, it's going to be after 1. They will be very isolated. Most of us will remain dry. It won't be until late this evening, mainly initially at least in our northern counties, where we'll start to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Heating up already, 76 in Joplin, 77 now in Pittsburgh. And take a look at all the orange on this map at 7 a.m. There's a lot of warm air. Most of us in the mid-70s, starting to see some upper 70s out there as well. We're on our way to going into the low 80s by 9, near 90 by noon. Highs today, low to mid-90s. Southwest winds gusting to 25, and heat index values today easily reaching 105. And for some of our western counties, sometimes gets a little warmer to the west. west, heat index values could exceed 105. So again, just make sure you're staying hydrated, taking precautions, and staying inside when you can. Thunderstorm chances, as I mentioned, increase tonight into tomorrow. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, authorities have arrested an Oklahoma man accused of scamming an elderly Lamar, Missouri resident out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The suspect is this man, Ravi Emengati of Edmond, Oklahoma. Barton County, Missouri investigators believe he scammed the victim by claiming to be an employee of the Federal Trade Commission. Now, court documents say Emengati told the victim their bank account had been compromised, and if the victim did not provide him with all of their money, it would be lost or stolen. Authorities say the victim provided Emengati with 4 money transfers starting just last month. One was for $25,000 via a Bitcoin machine in Joplin. Then 3 times the victim was instructed to give various amounts of money to a man who would show up in a car at the victim's home. Those 3 transactions totaled an additional $235,000. Authorities say they arrested Emengati as he was leaving the victim's home with $85,000. Well, a judge in Tulsa sentences a Grove man for possession of child pornography. In February 2023, 24-year-old Dakota Clark, a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, began communicating with a 14-year-old on social media. The investigation revealed Clark coerced the minor to produce sexually explicit photos. Clark also possessed hundreds of sexual images of minors. Clark will receive 20 years in prison, followed by 15 years of unsupervised release. Upon release, Clark will be required to register as a sex offender. And authorities in Montgomery County, Kansas, raised the reward amount for information concerning the shooting death of 5 dogs. Now, a caution: while the image we are going to show has been altered due to its graphic nature, you might find it disturbing. Authorities responded to a scene last week where 5 dogs had been shot and lay dying. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, is investigating the incident as an act of animal cruelty. The department has reached out to the public for information as well as offering a reward. Since then, people have offered more money to add to the reward. The amount is now up to $1,600. If you have any information, contact the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, President Trump ramped up pressure on Russia as he pushes for a ceasefire agreement to end the war in Ukraine. Fox News correspondent Bill Malugin has more from Los Angeles.
Well, at the end of 50 days, if we don't have a deal, it's going to be too bad.
The clock is ticking for Russia as President Trump doubles down on his tariff threat. On Monday, the president threatened to target Moscow's trading partners with 100% tariffs if a ceasefire agreement isn't reached to end the war in Ukraine. Trump gave Russia 50 days to respond and pushed back on critics who say that deadline should be sooner.
Oh, I don't think 50 days is very long. And it could be sooner than that. I don't think 50 days is very long.
Along with the tariff threat, the president announced NATO allies will buy billions of dollars worth of U.S. military weapons, which will then be sent to Ukraine. According to the NATO Secretary General, supplies will include both defensive and offensive arms.
We will find the money in Europe to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to be in the best possible position during these peace talks as soon as they start.
But when asked, Trump downplayed the possibility of sending long-range missiles, which would give Ukraine a chance to strike further into Russian territory.
The only way Putin's going to come to the table if he sees resolve of the West to stick with Ukraine.
And in a rare sight on Capitol Hill, the president's plan appears to be getting some bipartisan support.
Sanctions ought to be done as soon as possible, as strongly as possible, so that Putin knows we are serious in a unified approach.
And as for Russia, it released a statement saying these new plans contradict calls for an end to the war. Moscow also saying it's still waiting on a new date for peace talks. Bill Malugin, Fox News.
And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Will Morris from the Kansas State Research and Extension Office shares what to expect as you compete in 4-H competitions. Plus, we'll learn one way to keep animals cool during the hot summer months. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the fairgrounds of Bourbon County, located in Fort Scott, Kansas. Well, fair season has certainly kicked off here in the 4 states, and that means young 4-H exhibitors and members are showing off all their hard work. We have Will Morris from the Kansas Research and Extension Office with us this morning to share how those 4-H members are getting ready and also the judging process. So good morning to you. Thank you so much for being with us. It's an exciting time, for 4-H members for the county fairs. Talk to me a little bit about how they prepare in the judging process.
Yeah, so our 4-H year begins in October. So ever since then, kids have been working on their projects, whether that be arts and crafts, photography, different livestock things, STEM things. And now's the time to showcase those.
Right, yes.
So county fairs is a lot of fun, but it's also a big learning opportunity for those kids because they are opening themselves up to feedback from who we see as like experts or knowledgeable individuals in those different areas, and they have to go and sit one-on-one just like we're talking now in what we call consultative judging and open themselves up to feedback. So it's a whole process in that, and then it's also competitive as well. So we have lots of different ways that the kids can be involved and get that information. But one cool thing for the public to know is kind of what those results mean, because as you go across the many different fairs, you'll see all the projects and exhibits and things, and a lot of times you'll see a ribbon attached to those things, and each color means a different thing.
Okay.
So we have different ribbon colors. There's purple, blue, red, and white. We use the Danish system, which is what it's called.
Yes.
And if you see a purple ribbon, then that means that project exceeded expectations, that they did very well, that they met the minimum standards and went beyond that. A blue ribbon is kind of just they met standards and did a great job at it. Red would be just below, maybe they could improve a few things. And then white would mean that maybe there was some sort of rule infraction or something like that that caused them to be at that ribbon color. So with all of those, since it is consultative, if you bring several different arts and crafts, you may have some of different colors. It just depends on that project of things. So it's very much that project with that kid type of feedback to against the standards that were set and how they achieve those.
Wonderful, and it gives them some real world experience too. Talk to me a little bit about what you've seen over the years and how it helps kids' development.
Yeah, so all kids, we hope that once they go on and become adults, that they get jobs and contribute to society and things like that. So one of the great things about the consultative judging is, one, it's very similar to a job interview. It's a very unique experience. They learn how to handle constructive feedback or criticisms, things like that, all different skills that open themselves up. They learn how to communicate well, how to defend what they have done and explain things. So just those communication skills, those speaking skills, things like that, that not only will help them when they're youth, but they will also carry those on into their adult life.
Absolutely, and I'm sure community support means a lot to those kids as well. Will, thank you so much for your time this morning. Happy to have you as always. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 7:18 now on this Wednesday morning. A reminder again, after midnight, or really honestly close to midnight, we might get the tail end of a strong storm or two from a complex of storms up to our north that's expected to be severe. We could get a strong storm out there with some wind gusts. When we show you the future track talk, I'll show you exactly what we're talking about. First, from now into the afternoon, we're going to have partly cloudy skies, or at least a mix of mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. Our pop-up storm chances are there again, but this time not as early as they have been the last couple of days. Very likely after 1. They'll be also quite isolated, so most of us will remain dry, as has been the case with our pop-up storms. They're just a bit more isolated today than they were yesterday, the day before. Now around 9, 10 o'clock, get some scattered storms in our northern counties. Not expecting much from this activity in terms of anything strong or severe. It's going to be this guy, you're going to see him like almost like a little finger, try and sneak in to our northern counties before it just dissipates. And there it is. That's the storm. That's the tail end of the activity up north that could try to become strong to low-grade severe in our very far northern counties. Now, after that, additional scattered storms out there through 5 a.m. What happens is these begin to fall apart as they do around 6, 7. Then this cold front gets closer and it triggers new development along the Kansas-Oklahoma border, stretching back into southwest Missouri through 6 to 8 a.m. So now we have these thunderstorms. These will track to the east a little bit. Some of them become a little more broken, a little more scattered. And then we'll have just isolated to widely scattered storm chances out there. So nothing significant, and most of us as we roll through the afternoon and late evening will be dry, but a stray shower or storm will be possible. Then you see the front retreats north, then it comes back down south a bit, and as it does so, it could trigger some additional storms late Thursday night into early Friday. Again, at this point, no severe risk areas highlighted. In fact, what we showed you for tomorrow, well, for tonight into early tomorrow morning, our far northern counties, that's the only severe risk area highlighted in our entire region over the next couple of days. Could that change? It's a possibility. So we'll keep an eye on it, of course, for you. But right now, at least some good news there. Once we get through about 11 o'clock noon on Friday, that should be about it. The last of the showers, any thunderstorms, clear on out, and we're going to be dry, hot, and humid into the weekend. Already going to be hot and humid today. Got a few clouds out there. Pushing into the upper 70s, near 80 by 8 o'clock. Partly cloudy skies through the morning, near 90 by 11. Highs today cruising into the low to mid 90s. It's going to put our heat index values for most of us easily at 105. Some of our western counties where it gets a little warmer could creep a little above 105. So again, stay hydrated, take breaks, get inside when you can, or just stay indoors if you can at all today. Southwest winds also gusting to 25. They don't really help you out, but it will be breezy. Isolated storms again in the evening. Scattered storms late, still into the low 80s by 10, low to mid 70s overnight. Scattered storms, as we mentioned, tomorrow through the first half of our Friday, 90. Yeah, that looks better. It's about average for our high. The problem is all the humidity and energy being brought in for those storms puts our heat index values tomorrow still close to 100. We heat up into the weekend, pop-up storms Monday, Tuesday, and at this time, long-range data is suggesting by the end of next week, we could have high temperatures pushing close to 100. So just make sure you're prepared for that and ready to go to stay hydrated and stay safe. Let's check your forecast. We are back with more right after this.
Welcome back. Delia Lister from the PSU Nature Reach is with us this morning to share a few tips on how you can keep wild animals safe during the summer. So good morning to you. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course, you brought another little adorable friend with you. Introduce us, would you mind?
It's a little bit small for the camera, but we have a gray tree frog here. And this gray tree frog has traveled to many school classrooms. But there are plenty of gray tree frogs out in the wild, even around Pittsburgh. And so they love woods and water, but you also find them usually on like your porch or near your light at night or something like that.
Wonderful. And what is this contraption that you got going on over here?
So this is what's called a frog hotel, and it's really just made out of PVC pipe. And you put it in a planter with some gravel, and you can put some water in there, and it creates a hotel for frogs, like tree frogs, to come hang out. So you can put it on your porch. And it's a way to provide shade. It's a way to provide some moisture for your frogs. And that's really what it boils down to with keeping animals cool, wild animals cool in the summer months, is provide shade and provide water, and plenty of water that's clean, and make sure you're cleaning bird baths and hummingbird feeders and all of that, but that's really what you need.
Wonderful. So that's one way that you can be a friendly neighbor to those wild animals. Talk to me about some other ways that we can help, during these hot summer days.
Even just putting out like plant saucers full of water, or just shallow pans, and making sure they're in the shade, and like I said, cleaning them regularly so we don't spread disease unknowingly. But that's really what it boils down to, is having plenty of shade, plenty of water. If you want to provide food in the form of birdseed for birds, or you can put a solar light near your frog hotel to attract some insects that might be pretty interesting to the frogs, to attract them to the hotel. But those are the things that they need.
Absolutely. Anything that you would not recommend, or just to take precautions if you do see a wild animal, who's maybe needing some shade, some water, food, things like that?
Yeah, generally wildlife are going to find their own places to go. So I always suggest watching from afar, and if you need to intervene or you can always call wildlife rehabilitator and just provide the things that that they need the most, and you'll have an enjoyable experience watching all those wildlife.
Absolutely. If people want to find out more tips or get involved with Nature Reach, how can they do so?
Sure. They can send us an email at naturereach@pittstate.edu. They can also look us up on the web. So any way you can catch us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for introducing us to this new friend. Stick around. We'll be right back.
All right.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. I'm Elise Snowy. A fire alerted first responders yesterday evening to a packaging company in Joplin. Joplin first responders were alerted around 6:30 p.m. to a fire that broke out inside a machine at West Rock. The facility evacuated all of its employees as the first units arrived. Now, officials are investigating the fire and added that they suspect it was nothing suspicious. No one was injured and employees were able to re-enter the building around 7 p.m. Well, some drivers going through Carl Junction should be aware of a speed limit change. Beginning Monday, Route Z on Imperial Road and Walnut Street in front of the high school, the speed limit will be reduced from 45 to 40. Once school begins, the school zone will be reduced from 35 to 30. The change comes following a resident-requested speed study conducted by MoDOT, which found the speed limit to be higher than it needed to be. And drivers on I-44 may need to seek an alternative route beginning next Monday night. Expect work crews along I-44 in Newton, Jasper, Lawrence, and Greene counties, starting from the Main Street exit in Joplin and working their way towards Missouri Route 125 in Stratford. Crews will be collecting core samples for the Forward 44 project. Lane closures will take place nightly from 8 p.m. until 6 each morning, beginning next Monday and running through late September. Well, the Newton County Sheriff's Office awards its deputy of the second quarter in part for a potentially life-saving roadside rescue. Body cam footage shows Sergeant Nick Boo notice a vehicle traveling slower than the others, which created a traffic problem. Boo notified dispatch after determining the driver was slumped over the wheel. He then moved to use emergency equipment to set up a traffic stop, then ran from his car to the still rolling vehicle. Boo managed to stop the vehicle where he discovered the non-responsive driver. He then removed the driver, placed him on the ground, and began CPR. First responders say the driver was able to talk when taken to an area hospital. The driver was diagnosed as having a heart attack and reached out later to thank Sergeant Boo. Authorities say Sergeant Boo's observations of the traffic on the roadway and his immediate actions not only saved the life of the driver of the vehicle, but likely prevented a serious motor vehicle accident. The Newton County Sheriff's Office says it's proud to recognize Sergeant Nick Boo for this action and for his dedication to serving the citizens of Newton County and name him a deputy of the second quarter. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be another hot and muggy day out there. In fact, hotter and muggier for us. We got clear skies from this view. Our camera downtown Pittsburgh got a few clouds here and there, not many so far. MoDOT camera 20th and range line beginning to fill up with traffic as folks begin their Wednesday morning commute. Now again, after midnight tonight, or around midnight honestly, could get an isolated strong storm barely clipping our northern counties. We'll keep an eye on it, but that's really the expectation, is we might get clipped by a complex of storms that'll be strong to severe up to our north, and then we'll have more scattered storms beyond that. As for today, though, pop-up storms again, this time a little later. Instead of 11 o'clock in the morning, it'll be after 1. They'll be very isolated, as you can see, so most of us will remain dry, and then later this evening we'll get some scattered storms into our northern counties. Nothing strong or severe with this activity. Again, it won't be until closer to midnight when a strong storm might try and clip us out there. Temperatures heating up pretty quickly already. 76 in Joplin, 77 in Pittsburgh. Around the region, that southwest wind kicking in, bringing in that warm air. Many of us climbing into the mid to upper 70s. We got Veneta and Fort Scott both sitting at 78 already. Looking to be in the low 80s by 9, 90 by noon, low to mid 90s for our highs. Southwest winds gusting to 25. Heat index values today can easily reach 105, so make sure you're staying hydrated and taking care of yourself out there. there. We have the rain chances tonight, into tomorrow, maybe even into Friday. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, summer is usually for fun in the sun, but the season is also rife with a whole lot of extreme weather risks. Fox News' Sean Langell takes a closer look at why it might be a good idea to make a storm emergency kit.
The summer months exposing millions to the potential risk for severe weather events.
Tornadoes, hurricanes. We can see flooding a lot of times in the summer.
Hurricanes are becoming more frequent. They're becoming more intense.
Health experts say you don't want to wait until disaster's at your door to start gathering supplies, citing the insides of a well-stocked emergency kit that can help you ride out the aftermath of a storm.
I have a flashlight. I have matches that are in a water container, sealed container, so that way if I need to start a fire somewhere, those are protected from the elements. I have some extra medications, such as over-the-counter medications, but any of my prescription medications as well. I have a small first aid kit, warm blankets or extra clothing.
Also think about having baby wipes. You may not be able to access a full bathroom and you can kind of wash yourself down.
And whether you decide not to evacuate or don't have time to safely leave before a storm, it's crucial to have enough food and water on hand just in case.
Have at least a gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days in your home. That you have enough non-perishable foods in your home for 3 days.
Meanwhile, in the wake of the recent deadly flash flooding across central Texas, health experts recommend knowing several high-ground locations around your home so you can head there in case of danger.
Flash flooding is super scary, though, because it can happen in any community, though we often think of it as near water or if you live in flood zones, but you need to be aware of.
Sean Langell, Fox News.
Let's look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A Minnesota program aims to empower young girls through mountain biking. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the Bourbon County Kansas Fairgrounds in Fort Scott, Kansas. In Consumer Watch, the Consumer Price Index rose 0.3% in June from May, up just 0.2 for core CPI, including food and energy. Their readings are slightly higher than previous CPI reports. The numbers matched or were not as severe as economists were predicting. The Federal Reserve meets at the end of this month, but most economists don't expect an interest rate cut that soon. And a rule approved by the Biden administration is blocked by a federal judge. The rule, which was issued by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in January, would have removed unpaid medical debt from more than 15 million Americans' credit reports. The federal judge says the rule is being reversed because the CFPB overstepped its authority under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. The agency has not announced if it will appeal that decision. With wheat harvest well underway, you may have encountered tractors and combines going in and out of roadways. As KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports, law enforcement says you should take caution when sharing the road with these massive vehicles.
Just the other people is what bothers me, but...
Brendan Coach works in Cherokee County as a tractor operator. He says people in the community are pretty respectful to him while driving his tractor, well, most of the time.
Turning, you know, when I went to make a turn, someone went to go around me and it got pretty close, but other than that, nothing major.
And with that, Kansas Patrol Officer Gary Boyle says turns can be tricky sometimes.
We can't assume that if they move to the right, that means they want us to go around to the left or they're getting ready to make a right turn. Oftentimes when they move to the right, it's actually because they're going to make a left turn.
Law enforcement says you can increase your speed to go around these heavy trucks, but you just can't go above the speed limit.
You don't even have to come close to the speed limit to pass this equipment because they're traveling at 15, 20, maybe 25 miles per hour.
Boyle says there are things you shouldn't do when you encounter these trucks.
Do not pass if you're coming up on a curve or a hill or a bridge.
And finally, there are some challenges for people who operate this machinery.
On what you're pulling, you know, it's hard to see different things. So behind you, you know, you can't see a lot of things behind you. But
these vehicles are big. They're going to take up a lot of space. They don't move fast. And the equipment is very loud, so they may not even hear you.
And local law enforcement goes on to say that if driving behind these heavy trucks is a concern for you, they recommend leaving early. Reporting in Cherokee County, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Boyle says never speed up after passing a truck to make up time lost, as this could increase the likelihood of a crash. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:43 coming up on 7:44 on this Wednesday morning. Again, a reminder, we could get an isolated strong storm clipping our very far northern counties from a complex of more strong to severe storms that'll stay off to our north overnight tonight. And I'll show you exactly what we're looking at on Future Track for tonight here in just a moment. First, between here and there, partly cloudy skies and even some mostly clear skies. Winds will start picking up out of the southwest. Pop-up storm chances will return, but they won't be as early as they have the last couple of days. We're looking after 1 o'clock for those isolated pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Very isolated still, though. Most of us will be dry. Now, once we hit about 9 or 10, we get a few scattered showers and storms. Not expecting anything strong or severe from that activity. But about midnight, here it comes, just the tail end of this complex of stronger storms off to our north, just barely scraping our northern counties, and that's going to be our brief window for a strong storm or two. Then about 3-4 a.m. we get additional scattered storms up north. As they fizzle out, say around 7 or so, we get additional thunderstorm development south of that as this cold front approaches. And it's not a strong cold front. We're not really going to notice much, but it will trigger more showers and thunderstorms through the morning hours on our Thursday. Some of those will fizzle out through the afternoon Thursday. An isolated storm or two will be possible. I know Future Track's showing a lot more than isolated, but really we're not looking at that widespread of rain chances, but some isolated to widely scattered shower storms possible through Thursday afternoon. Then we go late Thursday. The cold front has retreated. Then it comes back, and after midnight could trigger some additional showers and thunderstorms out there, especially in the southeast Kansas initially. And through the first half of our Friday, we'll have a few of those storms, and then we'll begin to clear out by Friday afternoon, leaving us warm and muggy across the area. You can see a few clouds out there now, and that's where we're headed. About 80 by 8 a.m. and near 90 by 11 o'clock this morning. As we go into the afternoon, temperatures climbing low to mid 90s. Southwest winds gusting to 25. So here's the thing. All the humidity, temperatures rising. Heat index values for most of us today could very easily reach about 105 degrees. Some of our western counties, you folks know, it's a little warmer out there sometimes. You could have heat index values exceeding 105. Maybe not significantly, but still up there. So you got to stay hydrated. You got to take care of yourself. Stay inside when you can. Take breaks if you've got to be outdoors. Just be cautious as the temperatures continue to climb. Like I said, we've had a fairly decent summer so far. So now we're getting ready to settle in really to those dog days of summer, and temperatures will be climbing. Isolated storms through the evening, scattered storms late evening and overnight. The low to mid 70s, south winds 5 to 10. Tomorrow, our highs are about normal, around 90. That sounds great. And you would think with rain and cloud cover, that'd be a good thing. Unfortunately, it's not. We're going to have ahead of that boundary all of that warm, moist air coming in, and so it's going to still be very muggy tomorrow. So heat index values, even though our highs are only about 90, could get close to 100. So you've still got to be cautious out there. Storms clear out Friday afternoon. Low mid-90s, hot this weekend. Pop-up storm chances, they're low, but they are there for Monday and Tuesday. And at this point, some long-range data, which you're seeing here on the extended forecast, is suggesting we could be getting close to highs near 100 toward the end of next week. So just make sure you're prepared out there. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, you don't think of mountain biking as a young girl's sport, but Little Bellas is trying to change that.
The organization teaches young girls cycling skills as well as confidence. Derek James has the story.
A is for air.
Just off the trailhead of the largest mountain bike trail system located entirely in a major U.S. city.
B is for brakes.
A series of pre-ride safety checks.
C is for chain.
But the riders about to take on St. Paul's Battle Creek trails are all rookies.
I have a bike, but I ride it around the neighborhood, but never on the trails.
They're Little Bellas, part of a national nonprofit mountain bike program for girls ages 7 to 13.
Green light!
Martha Flynn,
all the little Bellas, looking good!
Started the first chapter in the Midwest in Woodbury in 2016.
What was it about this concept that you immediately said yes?
I think the reason that Little Bellas is the most perfect thing for me and for the girls that participate is it's a safe space for them to try something new and challenge themselves.
There are now 6 Little Bellas programs in the Twin Cities. Each offers financial assistance and gear to those in need. This week-long summer camp is free to girls through a partnership with the Sane Foundation. The mountain biking is the path.
It's kind of like a roller coaster. You're going up and down and up and down. It's where you get your exercise in too.
To building confidence and having fun. Little Bellas ride and play games in a non-competitive atmosphere.
Gonna go easy gear again.
With strong female mentors like Carrie Sipe.
I hope you'll know that you're really strong. You'll start to learn how to do things that scare you and also help others do that. To have a peer, a 9-year-old helping a 9-year-old tell them like, I was scared too, and then I went over this rock, like that is just gold.
Important lessons that these girls will take with them beyond the ride.
Don't be scared of anything that you try and be confident in yourself.
Talk about a cool program.
Right, it really is. Great to see them out there.
It certainly is. Today, though, in our area, not a great day to be biking at all, as it's going to be hot and muggy. We also could see an isolated strong storm or two, again, in our northern counties around midnight. We showed you earlier, we'll show you again real quick, but could have some gusty winds with at least a storm or two from a larger complex that'll stay to our north. Into the afternoon we go, isolated pop-up storms, this time after 1 p.m. instead of 11 a.m. Still very isolated, most of us dry. 9, 10 o'clock, get some scattered shower storms in our northern counties. Nothing much expected from this. It's going to be this little sliver here. That's why the risk is so isolated and so confined, is that little sliver there overnight. Then about 4 or 5 a.m., more storms develop as this cold front gets closer to the area. You can see the wind shift line, northern counties. As those fizzle out, then we get new development ahead of the front. By about, say 6, 7 a.m. along the Kansas-Oklahoma border stretching into southwestern Missouri. Then that activity kind of breaks apart, and through the rest of our Thursday, it'll be isolated to widely scattered showers and storms. This is one of those situations where future track, it makes it look like there's a lot more rain by Thursday evening. Not necessarily going to be the case. Now that front, though, retreats back a bit to the north, and then overnight into Friday, we could get, from Thursday into Friday, we could get additional showers and thunderstorms out there that'll push through the mid-morning hours on our Friday, and then by Friday afternoon we start to clear out, heat up, and get muggy. No severe weather expected with any of the activity Thursday through the late morning into the afternoon or on Friday at this point. Near 80 to start our day, a few clouds, partly cloudy by 11, and temperatures near 90. We're going to have another look at your forecast and your wake up recap right after this.
This is your wake up recap for July 16th, your top stories to start your day. Authorities arrest Ravi Amangadi of Edmond, Oklahoma for scamming an elderly Lamar, Missouri resident out of more than $250,000. Court documents say Amangadi told the victim their bank account had been compromised. Authorities say they arrested Amangadi as he was leaving the victim's home with $85,000. The Newton County Sheriff's Office awards its Deputy of the Second Quarter to Sergeant Nick Boo, in part for a potentially life-saving roadside rescue. Body cam footage shows Sergeant Boo pulling a driver from a moving vehicle after he determined the driver was slumped over the wheel. The driver was diagnosed as having a heart attack and reached out later to thank Sergeant Boo. And that's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And it's going to be hot and muggy today, going in low mid-90s. Heat index values easily up to 105. Some of our western counties could be a little more than that. Isolated pop-up storms this afternoon. Southwest winds gusting to 25. Isolated storms into the evening. Scattered storms later tonight, still in the low 80s by 10, falling back in the low to mid 70s overnight. Scattered storms for the day on Thursday and leading into the first half of our Friday. And even though our temperatures tomorrow are near normal, with all that humidity in the storms, it's going to put our heat index values close to 100. After that, low to mid 90s, maybe even upper 90s begin to show up in the long range forecast there.
All right. Well, the medals for the 2026 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games are unveiled in Venice, Italy yesterday. The big reveal took place at the historic Palazzo Balbi on the Grand Canal.
The medals, designed to appear split in half to represent the host cities of Milan and Cortina. The 2026 Games will be the first Olympics ever to have two host cities in the name. The Games are scheduled to take place from February 6th to the 22nd. Olympics
cool,
time
yes.
already coming
All
up.
about that.
Big deal. Man, the Olympics have been going on a long time,
They
too.
certainly have lots of traditions. Great to see.
Indeed.
Excited for next year.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for letting us put some good into your morning. Remember, stay hydrated, stay safe out there. We'll be back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.